What's up, tribe? How you guys doing? I'm in my pirate era tonight. Had to wash my hair because y'all know what that means. If y'all been around long enough, y'all know that when I wash my hair, y'all know what that means. Y'all know what's coming next, okay? But let's get into it, you guys. I wanted to get caught up on Next Generation NYC, and then we'll be back later on tonight to do the Real Housewives of Miami. Tomorrow is Juneteenth, so when I get home tomorrow, we will be doing a tribe meeting over there. So let me say hi to the people before we get ready to get into it. Inform said justice for Riley. You know we're going to get there. Oh, we are going to get there. What's up, J Diva? Hey, Tawana, Tracy, Mo Walker, Natalie. Natalie been here. You know what it is. Absolutely. So listen, we're going to do 2 episodes at the same time. And y'all know me, my mind is all over the place. Therefore, my commentary will be all over the place as well. So we may not stay on episode 2. We may jump around from episode 2 to episode 3. But let me just say this. What I suspected and what I was afraid of is exactly what happened in last night's episode. But let's start at the beginning. Let's go back to episode 2 so we can get caught up to where we are now with episode 3, and we can get into, I know what y'all want me to talk about. We're going to get there. So in episode 2, we got a chance to meet a little bit more of the people on the show. What up, Cajun Boo? We got to meet a few more of the people on the show, and we got a chance to get to know a little more of the relationships. So we saw that after Georgia and the crew left the event where nobody wanted to shake her hand because they found out she was nasty. Okay, boo. They went out, they got drunk. Georgia lost her phone, and we see them kind of hanging out the next day. Georgia, the other young man that let me see, I think it's Amir is his name, I believe it's Shy, Georgia, Dylan, Charlie. They're hanging out, and they're kind of recapping what happened. Now, let me be honest. I know some people might say, oh my gosh, they made such a big deal about the hand walking thing, yada, yada, yada. But isn't that what we do on reality shows? We take an issue and we make it a thing. Also, I think what myself included, what we have to remember is we are dealing with a younger generation, and they do, like, that is real for them. I deal with kids all day long, and something that we can let go, that we talk about it and we move on, for them, it's a thing. So the whole hand washing thing, it does drag on and it becomes a bigger issue later on in this episode. But y'all, it's a thing. Okay, you making garlic shrimp with a creamy sauce. Oh, that sounds good, Cajun. So there's that. Then we have the other issue. We'll get into some of the other issues later on in this episode. So we find out that, once Georgia got her a couple of drinks, child, she was over the whole Riley of it all. She had moved on. And we see Charlie kind of saying, listen, Riley tries you when she first meets you. She did it to Shy. She threatened to punch Dylan in the face. Like, they were saying, like, Riley is this tough cookie that, she sort of tests you in the beginning, but then, it'll be okay. So like, oh, it'll be all right after that, whatever. Then we get a chance to talk, we get Riley's story a little bit. We find out that Riley, and for those of us who watch Atlanta, we know who Riley is and we know her story. Riley moved to New York to go to college from Georgia. Her mom is Candy Burr. She said, I know I have big, shoes to fill because my mom is that bitch. Okay. And I know I have big shoes to fill. And basically there's a little bit of pressure because my mama was like, I have 1 year to live off of her, and then she is cutting me off. Now, I don't think that Candy's, and I'm speaking for Candy. I don't know her, but I'm speaking for her. I don't think that when Riley says cut off, I don't think Candy would ever let her kids flounder. However, I think as long as Riley is showing that she is moving towards something, moving towards a career, moving towards doing something productive, I don't think Candy will leave her hanging. However, I do think Candy wants her to figure it out. Like, you went to college. At one point, you said you wanted to go to law school. If that's no longer on the table, what is the plan? But she will definitely, right, exactly, Bap. She's not cutting her off, but she's going to make her responsible. Exactly. Hey, Powerful. Hey, Kenya. Hey, Miss Bathan, Yvette. Y'all come on in. Candy says since she is no longer school, she is a paying for the lifestyle. Right, exactly. And I get it. Like, I'm not mad about it. I don't have a problem with rich parents, wealthy parents, affluent parents. I don't have a problem with them peeling back the support. Especially since I think Candy has always made Riley. We saw this play out a little bit on the Real Housewives of Atlanta, right? Todd is the hard one. Todd is the one that's like, no, you got to make it. You got to pull yourself up by your bootstraps. And Candy is like, but why? Why do they have to struggle when they don't have to struggle? But I think that as long as Riley is moving towards a goal, then she'll be all right. Especially since she just moved into a brand new apartment in Brooklyn. I'm sure Candy's paying that, right? She'll be all right. Okay, so I thought she was going to do entertainment law, but I like the route Candy's taking. Yeah, I think, here's the thing. When I went to undergrad, I was going to law school too. You get there, you take a couple of classes, or you evolve, or you see things through a different lens, and you change your mind. So I think her intention was to go to law school when she first went into college. And then when she got there, she wants to go into entertainment, but she no longer wants, as of the last I heard, she, is no longer interested in going into the law. So we got to see Riley a little bit more. Ariana, we got a little bit. What up, Abby Boo? Ariana, we got to see a little bit more of her story. She moved to it's a scarf. I don't have blue braids. It's a scarf. This is an old scarf too. Oh my gosh. I've had this scarf for probably, I have probably had this scarf for about 20 years, child. But anyway, because I don't sleep with a scarf on anymore. Anyway, it's just the old scarf, but ain't nothing wrong with it. So now I remember what I was saying, child. Oh, so Ariana has moved to New York. She says she's always wanted to move to New York. We kind of see her walking around the streets of New York, yada, yada, yada. Then we see Brooks and Meredith go to dinner with Gia and her mom. Oh, we also found out that they don't know who Gia is, right? The Georgia. We're going to get back to this whole dynamic a little bit later on. Y'all remind me, in case I forget to talk about it, y'all remind me to talk about this dynamic of the reality show kids versus the non-reality show kids. But I want to get to a couple other things before we get into that conversation. But y'all just remind me to talk about it. Okay. So they don't know who Gia is, right? They know Gia from the TikTok video that went viral a few years ago, but they don't know that's the same girl from, wake up in the morning, whatever however that song goes. So then we see where Brooks and Meredith go to lunch or dinner or whatever with Gia and with Teresa. Meredith and Teresa have become friends through being a part of the Bravo universe. They're cool, they're friends, friendly, whatever. And of course, Brooks and Gia have become friends through that same. They met at BravoCon, yada, 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 right? We find out Brooks tells Meredith about the whole situation with Charlie making the comment about Chloe. Now, I will say this, and I said this on the last episode, and I still feel how I feel, even though I think Charlie is a total asshole. We're going to get to Charlie's ass. But even though I think Charlie is a total asshole, I honestly think they are dragging this shit. I really do. First of all, Chloe is 22 fucking years old. She's not 16. She's not like a freshman in college. A freshman in high school that came to New York to visit her big brother. And this big bad 29-year-old friend of his is like in her face and won't let her out of the corner. Okay. She is 22 years old. She flew to New York. She's hanging out with Brooks. Charlie asked her out on a date. Now, do I think that, it's okay for Brooks being the big brother to pull her aside and say, hey, Charlie is my friend, but Charlie's a hoe. So I would prefer that you not fool with him, but you are 22 years old. You're going to do what you're going to do. I don't have a problem with him pulling Charlie aside and saying, hey, that's my sister. Can you not? I would respectfully ask, that you not take my sister out on a date. Now, when Charlie chose to take her out on a date anyway, and when Chloe chose to go on that date anyway, at that point, Brooks, now you have a decision to make about it. Either you gonna still be cool with Charlie, even though he did what you asked him not to do as it relates to his sister, your sister, or you can step out of it and say they grown and whatever happens, happens. Like, honestly, that's it. That's like, again, now if she was still in high school or something like that, then I would be like, okay, this is a lie. But they are really dragging this. But let me keep going. So Meredith, of course, Meredith responded the way you would expect her to respond. Like, wait a minute. But what I like is that Meredith was like, okay, well, what did you say? Because see, Brooks, here's what I'm not going to, and again, I like Brooks a lot better on this show than I did on the Real Housewives of Salt Lake City. Because honestly, the way he was edited or whoever he was in that moment, he came up as a brat. Okay. So I wasn't feeling him on Salt Lake City, but I like him a lot better on this show. But what I'm not going to let you do, Brooks, what I'm not going to let you do is use the fact that you don't like confrontation as your excuse to not address any of it, right? When your mama was like, well, what did you do? Because you're the big brother. And so I think that it is absolutely appropriate for your mama to be like, okay, but what did you say? But what did you do? Well, what did he say when you said what you should have said to him? Then we were able to get into Brooks and his sexuality. He talked about how it made him so uncomfortable when it became an issue on the Real Housewives of Salt Lake City. If you watch Salt Lake City, you guys remember how his sexuality became an issue. It became a conversation piece. It's with Jen Shaw and things of that nature, and how, he wasn't ready in that space to discuss his sexuality, and he didn't feel like he should have had to. I agree 100%. I know that we become and when I say we've all done it, I mean, as far as like content creators, YouTubers, bloggers, or whatever. I feel like a lot of us, because I can't say everybody, but I feel like a lot of us have made jokes and have insinuated that about people's sexuality. But in the grand scheme of things, it's not our business. Period. It is only our business to address what somebody has chosen to share with us. So it doesn't matter how we may feel someone's affect is coming off. If he hasn't told us that he's gay, bisexual, trans, whatever, it's not our business. Moving right along. People in regular, people do. Exactly. We do. You're right, Melly. You're absolutely. We all do it. When I say all, again, if it don't apply, let it fly. But a lot of people do it. We have people we work with, and we be like, you see how she dressing? She looking. You think she? Or you see he got a little extra pep in his step. You know what I mean? We a lot of us do it. And I agree, and I just feel like, everybody's gay on Mad Day. Won't somebody do it on Mad Day? Baby. Anyway, so we get to know a little bit more about Charlie in this episode as well. And let me say this. Between Charlie is an asshole, full stop, period. And again, I got a whole lot to say about Mr. Charlie. But when we meet his dad and when we meet his mom, I honestly feel like Charlie is the typical, stereotypical story of poor little rich kid, right? He grew up rich, he grew up affluent, but it sounds like neither one of his parents were really emotionally available. It sounds like when we meet his mama in the next episode, sounds like his mama left his ass with the daddy, and it sounds like the daddy was not emotionally available. It sounds like he was given a lot of materialistic things and absolutely no emotional support, no affection, no show of love. And it's like that. It is the traditional poor little rich kid story. However, I don't have a lot of sympathy for you, Charlie, because you have shown yourself to be an asshole on so many different levels so far. We are only on episode 3, and in every episode, you have given us a new example of how much of an asshole you are. But we're going to get to that. Okay. So we see where his dad is a trader. Now, Charlie says that he trades crypto. I don't think Charlie makes any money. I think Charlie lives off of his he lives off of his trust fund, whatever his monthly allowance is. His dad probably pays for his apartment. His dad probably finances his lifestyle. Now we found out in the next episode that he did go to college. He has a college degree and a master's degree. So it's not that he didn't go to school. It's not that he doesn't have some sort of credentials to do something. But he's trading crypto. And again, I don't know how much of that is real, like making any money versus this is what I'm doing because it's the cool thing to say you're doing. Even his own roommate, Dylan, doesn't think that he's making any money. Even his dad told him he's not, like, because he was like, because you're not trading crypto, you're buying crypto. Because he was saying something about holding on to the crypto, and that is not how you make it money. Right. That's exactly what Candy is trying to prevent. Exactly. So we also meet Dylan in this episode. Hey, give me shelter. Hey, boo. We also meet Dylan in this episode. Dylan is Charlie's roommate. Dylan is from the Midwest, grew up blue collar, makes his money off of content creation. Right now, he's making the majority of his money on OnlyFans. He does not do, according to what they said, he doesn't do like full-on adult content, but he does do a lot of like pictures and print work. He identifies as bisexual. He was doing MMA. He had a college scholarship, and then he got hurt. And they kicked Dylan off the show. See, you ahead of me, Cajun. I didn't know they had kicked Dylan off the show, so I don't know anything about it. I have no information about why Dylan. I didn't know Dylan got kicked off the show, so don't know. It's interesting if they kicked him off the show, why they kept him in. Like they could have easily have edited him out. That's interesting. Moving right along. All right. So Ava and what's her name? I don't want to say her name wrong. Ava and Amira meet down to the park. Now listen, it is clear that production told them to go meet in the park because I'm sure it's New York City. What is New York City without Central Park? I'm sure they thought it would be real cute to have a moment with these two beautiful women sitting in the middle of the park talking about pretty woman shit, right? It is so clear that neither one of them are outdoorsy nature people. It is so clear that they would much rather have filmed this scene at like a little trendy coffee bar somewhere in Soho, child. They were so over sitting in this damn park. But ultimately, we found out that Amira has a boyfriend. They've been dating for a while. And this is the first time she's taken like a guy home to meet her family. Now, I believe y'all told me that Amira is trans, although they have not brought that up on the show, which I'm okay with. Like I said, I don't feel like if she doesn't want to talk about it, she doesn't have to talk about it. She doesn't have to let us know any of that about herself. But I think it'll be interesting if we're talking about why you've never taken a boy home. But it's not unusual either for somebody that have never in their early 20s to have never taken a boy home to meet their family. I mean, that's not unusual. They say Dylan was a full-time. He had a bridge. I don't know what you're saying. A full-time what? He had a bridge. I don't know what that means, Ruby Skies. I don't know if you cut off or you think I understand what that means. Okay. She posted some before pictures on her social. Yeah, I mean, I don't think it's a secret. I just, at this point, it hasn't come up on the show. And again, it doesn't have to. She absolutely doesn't have to share that, Kay just says she's trans, but I think she is just living her life as a woman without the trans designation. Cool. Word on the curb is he stepped down because too many housewives' children were on the show. Interesting. Well, we're definitely going to get into that dynamic a little bit later on. Thank you, Ruby. Remind me. But that surprises me that Dylan was the one that would quit. But okay. I think her not sharing it on the show is the next gen type thing. That's valid. That's a valid thought, Cajun. That's a very valid thought. We found out that Ava has a boyfriend. He's an MMA fighter. Maybe that's where I got the MMA from. He's an MMA fighter. They haven't been dating that long. Ava, now listen, here is what I love about. Here's what I love about production or Housewives. Production is going to tell it. They're going to tell on you. So we know, for those of you who watched Growing Up Hip Hop, we met Ava on Growing Up Hip Hop. But how about we have also seen Ava on The Real Housewives of Beverly Hills? She was Crystal Minkoff's nanny, which I saw that on social media. She also was dating Diana's son, that Diana, whatever the lady's name was, that was on that one season of The Real Housewives of Beverly Hills, the really, really, really rich lady. Yeah, she was dating his son. So she filmed on Real Housewives of Beverly Hills. So it was absolutely hilarious that we have seen Ava in so many different spaces when it comes to reality TV. But she is definitely want to take her modeling seriously. And we got a chance to see a scene with her and her dad. Can I say something? Damon Dash has a way of sucking the energy out of everything. Like, I'm going to just go ahead and jump to the scene with Damon Dash because I feel like we're ready to go there anyway. If I missed anything, y'all let me know as it relates to Ava and Amira in this scene. Y'all let me know. So we see Ava with her dad. And first of all, sir, you literally just had all of your assets swiped from you because you defaulted on a lawsuit. You literally lost Rockefeller Records. I know you claimed that Jay-Z stole it from you. Maybe he did, maybe he didn't. I wasn't there. I don't know. But we know that, like, we just know that you make this big deal about how much money you make and how successful you are, and you're this serial entrepreneur and you got to lose money to make money. Like, all of these different mantras that you have given us over the years, between, like, even with loving Growing Up Hip Hop, the parents ended up taking over Growing Up Hip Hop because I guess the kids couldn't carry it. So we ended up staying Master P and Damon Dash and Peppa and hell, who else daddy did we see on the show? Stevie J. Like, they ended up taking over the show because the kids, I guess, just weren't doing it. But out of all of the parents, he was the most draining. He was so fucking draining. And it was the same thing here. Like, he's trying to get Ava to, yeah, that's why I need you to take over one of these businesses. What business, sir? The business that the court just took from you last week? Because Damon Dash lost anything that's in his name is gone. Gone. So what business was she supposed to take over, sir? Does Ava look like, and I'm not saying you can tell by the looks, but Ava is very clear that is not her thing. She is not interested in running a company. She wants to enjoy life. She wants to make money doing modeling and content creating, and that is it, and that is all. Like, she is not interested in what it is that you're trying to get her to do. It was the same thing with Boogie. I mean, unfortunately, Boogie ended up having other issues, but I'm sure that Dame Dash, being the type of father he is, did not help Boogie and his issues that he was dealing with. Like, so that was just draining. And then Ava says something about, I guess she doesn't have insurance because she was asking him to pick her up on his insurance or something. She was like, "Do you have insurance?" And she said something like, "Yeah, because I need to take my IUD out." I'm like, what? So at the end of episode 2, I was like, they could have kept Ava, but she sort of redeems herself in episode 3. We're going to get to that. But honestly, at the end of episode 2, I was like, you could have kept that. I read this week that Ava got evicted because of Dame. Wow, that's sad. I read that Amira got evicted. But it was last year that she got evicted, like last year. But I think it's simply as a matter of people trying, and again, they're young. I'll give a 20-something-year-old that's making a lot of money a pass on getting in over their head. And because I think she was staying in an apartment that was like a ridiculous amount. Even for New York, it was a ridiculous amount of money. And I think they said that or am I thinking about Ava? Is it the same person? I thought it was Amira, but maybe it was Ava. I thought it was Amira, but let me know, Yvette, if I'm thinking about Ava. But I hate to hear that she got evicted because of her dad. Like, I would hate to hear that. So anyway, Ariana and her boyfriend are trying to start their own clothing line. We see them shopping around. We see her talking about wanting to rekindle her friendship with Riley. So they go through that whole history about how her and Riley, were, okay, I meant Ava. Okay, so it was Ava that got evicted. Okay, my bad. About how her and Riley were really friends. You know, when they were younger, they were really good friends, you know, for kids. But when their moms stopped being cool, of course, they stopped hanging out because they were kids. I mean, they were only really hanging out with each other because their moms were hanging out with each other. And so Ariana is actually really, really excited to reconnect with Riley. Riley is a little more apprehensive. Riley is like, I literally don't remember us hanging out like that. And it's interesting because I think this is an example of what about Becky with the good hair have money? I don't know. Ruby Skies again, baby. I don't know what you're talking about. Who is Becky with the this show is full of Beckys. I need you to tell me who you're talking about, baby. So but Riley is a little apprehensive. We see her call her mom, and she's like, Mom, like, I'm nervous. Like, what if we get around each other and it's like crickets and we don't have anything in common and it's weird and it's awkward and I really just don't remember her. And Ariana is so excited because she does remember Riley, and she does remember Ava's mom. Ava's mom is not Becky with the good hair. Ava's mom is Rachel Roy. Rachel Roy is not Becky with the good hair. Rachel Roy is black. I'm confused. Where's Becky with? Did I miss something? Where's Becky with the good hair coming from? Yes, she is what? Y'all, I'm not being funny, y'all. Can y'all? I don't know what y'all talking about. I don't know if y'all talking to me or if y'all talking to each other. My spidey senses are off today. I usually can follow the chat, but my spidey senses are off today. No, it was not Rachel Roy. It wasn't Rachel Roy. Okay, hold on. Y'all are talking about two different things. It is rumored that Rachel Roy and Jay-Z had something going on. But Becky with the good hair that allegedly Beyonce was talking about, it was not Rachel Roy. It was a white girl. What's that white artist? What's that white what's it, Rita? What's that white girl? Right. They thought it was Rachel. It wasn't. It was actually a white woman who was at that party that night, which is allegedly why Solange cut up, because the girl was at Rita Ora. Yes, it was Rita Ora, y'all. Allegedly. All of this is allegedly because none of us know who it was because none of us there. Okay. But allegedly it was Rita Ora. She was at the party that night that Solange beat up Jay-Z on the elevator, and allegedly that's what set Solange off. Rachel Roy was at the party, but allegedly it was not Rachel Roy. I read Solange acted up after he was talking to Rachel Roy at the party. See, I read it wasn't Rachel Roy. Listen, it don't even matter, y'all. I don't know. And here's the reality. None of us know. We ain't gonna never know because Beyonce ain't gonna never tell it. But I read it wasn't Rachel Roy, but everybody was attacking her. And she was like, how I get in it. But I don't know. Because Rachel Roy knew all of them before he even started dating Beyonce. They all knew each other before Beyonce was a thing. Well, I don't know. Listen, it could be Rachel Roy, y'all. I thought I remembered that people were attacking Rachel Roy, but it wasn't her. But I don't know. Y'all Beyonce people know more than I know because y'all follow that stuff more than I do. So I don't know. Oh, Rachel Ray was like how I get in it. Oh, well, maybe it was Rachel Roy then. My bad. Y'all got it. It was Rachel Roy. My bad. Y'all got it. I might have been thinking about, maybe I was thinking about Rachel Ray. My bad. Okay. I apologize. And listen, don't leave. Hey. For the people watching this right now, don't you leave me no comment. If you typed a comment, delete it. Delete it right now. I just corrected myself. My apologies. Moving right. Yes, exactly, Kiki. Let's move right along. I don't even remember where I was. Okay. But, so Riley and Ariana, they meet up at the park and they actually seem, they talked and they had a lot in common and they were in the conversation flowed and, they both admitted that they were a little nervous. And I love that Candy was like, look, girl, whatever happened. Bab said writing a paragraph right now. And y'all know Cajun will put a comment in there. I loved how Candy said, listen, whatever happened between me and her mama don't have nothing to do with y'all. Like, I think it's great that the two of y'all are reconnecting. I think it's great that the two of y'all are meeting up. And I hope, I hope that y'all are able to, have a lot in common and things of that nature. Okay. I remember Wendy Williams told how she cooked in the same studio and was mistakenly getting hate mail. Oh, wow. So then we have this scene with Amira and her boyfriend. Again, it was a great scene, but it wasn't all that interesting. So basically, we just got a chance to see them go out on a date. And we got a chance to see them talking about, her being an influencer and how she's had to learn how to balance posting on social media and always being on social media and being in the moment. And I think that when somebody makes their money by constantly, like, you make money, the more content you put out, the more money you make. And I can get it, but I also think that, especially for people who do this full time, for the younger generation that does content creating full time, I think they're going to have to figure out a way to create a balance, because you have to learn how to be in the moment. That's like when people tell me, but when people say, oh, if you're going to such and such, you should vlog it. If you're going to such and such, you should vlog it. It's hard to stay in the moment while you're constantly worrying about creating content. Oh, let me take a video of me walking down the street. Let me take a video of this happening. Let me take pictures of this. I cannot tell y'all how much stuff I have in my phone that I have never posted. I still ain't posted anything from Saturday when we went out to lunch with Cajun and Busy Blue, excuse me. Both of them have posted and I haven't. I just, for y'all, I need to post it. I think I'm gonna post it tonight. But I honestly just forget. So it sounds like she's learning how to, create a balance, create more of a balance or whatever. Okay. Right. They never get a chance to find their own footing because their life is a business. Exactly. All right. So Riley is having a Brooklyn night. She invited everybody. And we see the text messages going back and forth. And Charlie, this is where we kind of, before Ariana and her boyfriend get there, this is where we sort of find out that there's some sort of strife between the reality kids and the non-reality kids. Now I understand the Cajun. I mean, it's cool. I'm just saying, like, I have it in my phone and I just forget to do it. Like the reality kids and the non-reality kids, right? And what we found out, what I found out outside of the show, but what I found out is that Charlie and I guess Dylan felt some kind of way about all of the reality TV kids being a part of the show. Originally, Brooks was supposed to be on the show and Riley was supposed to be on the show. They added Gia and they added Ariana, and the non-reality TV kids had an issue with it because they didn't want it to turn into like reality TV kids. Y'all remember they were supposed to do a reality TV kids show, and I guess it got scrapped, and maybe this was like the mesh up of it. And so they kind of feel some kind of way about these, especially like the Gia and the Ariana, who were added after the fact. But you know why they were added after the fact? Hey, Charlie, Dylan, and whoever else has an issue with them. The reason why they went back and added Gia and added Ariana is because y'all weren't bringing it. We're going to call a thing a thing. They went back and they added more reality TV kids because y'all weren't bringing it. And they were worried about y'all being able to carry a show without, because at the end of the day, Ariana brings viewers out of curiosity because, girl, we want to hear what you're going to say about your parents, okay? 2, people remember her from her own reality show, you know, the Real Housewives of Atlanta, and then the Tardy for the Party show, right? People know who she is. Gia definitely has a fan base. She's got her own thing. Everybody remembers Gia, whether you love her or hate her. Everybody knows Gia. They bring a fan base with them, and what that tells me is for production to reach out to them and pull them onto the show, y'all weren't bringing it. What up, Don Don? Hey, boo. Y'all weren't bringing it. And at the end of the day, I don't understand what your issue is. I don't understand what the issue is, because I don't feel like they're turning it into, at least not so far. I mean, we're only on episode 3, but I don't feel like they're turning it into a Housewives show. But I will tell you this. Ariana knows what she's doing. She knows how to have a moment. She knows how to create a moment. She knows how to make a scene. You can tell that she's been doing it. She absolutely knows what she's doing. Ariana is the breakout star for me. So far, Ariana is the breakout star for me. Gia understands the assignment. Did you see in episode 3 how Gia put that event together? Baby, if that ain't Housewives, I don't know what is. That pool party that Gia put together, if that is not a Housewives event, I don't know what is. What up, Tracy Boo? If that pool party with the pizza station and the mozzarella person and the psychic, like, baby, that was a Housewives event. She knows what she's doing. She knows what she's doing, right? Nicole Lambley said, it's really a good show. Give it a chance. I'm literally reviewing it. I'm giving it a chance because I wasn't going to review the show. Y'all know I wasn't going to review the show. Okay. So they're getting together for this Brooklyn night, and this is where we meet Ariana. This is where Ariana meets the rest of the crew. Now, Ariana is dragging this whole "where's the girl that doesn't wash her hands" thing. And again, this is her reality TV training coming into play because she wasn't there that night. And at the end of the day, she really ain't got shit to do with Georgia and her non-washing of the hands situation. But she knows how to make a scene and make a moment. And that is what she is doing. Now, Charlie, in my opinion, has decided that he already don't like her because he knows that she was added to the show. He already don't like her. He already gave Gia attitude last week when he was like, so are you Brooks's mouthpiece? He already gave Gia attitude last week. And as soon as Ariana walked in there, he had an attitude with her. He had an attitude with her. Okay. And Brooks wants, and the other thing that came up was the whole, why are you talking about my sister? Charlie, even though I feel like they are dragging, I already said at the beginning of the review, I already feel like they are dragging this whole "you went on a date with my sister" situation. If somebody, once again, if your friend comes to you and says, hey, I don't like it when you're talking about sleeping with my sister, and your response is to keep talking about sleeping with his sister, Houston, we have a problem. Because at a certain point, you have to read the room and know I'm not playing. I mean, I'm serious right now. I'm not joking. I told you last week I had a problem with it and it made me uncomfortable. And this week it came up again, and your response is to keep joking about it because you're an asshole, Charlie. Cindy, are you serious about who Charlie is? Or are you just saying it like, who's Charlie? Like, we don't know who he is. He's not connected to any of the reality people. That's what that's what we're saying. He's not a reality person, so you wouldn't know who he is. He's not connected to he's not, you know what I'm saying? He's not connected to, everybody on here isn't connected to a reality person, which is part of what the problem is. Georgia shows up, and again, Georgia and Riley make peace, right? They make peace with the whole not washing of the hands thing. And Georgia even says, I just washed my hands. Is it okay, you know, if I hug you? And Riley's like, okay. Like, you could tell she was kind of apprehensive, but she was like, I ain't gonna drag this whole thing, but all right, girl, all right, you know, okay. But it becomes a thing, but they kind of turned it into a joke and they move on or whatever. So then, but Ariana, because again, she's trying to make a moment, she's trying to make a scene, she's going to continue to make a issue out of it, right? She's going to continue to be like, the girl that doesn't wash her hands, and Charlie, who's talking about sleeping with Brooks' sister, and you know what I'm saying? Charlie had to file bankruptcy. I'm not surprised because Charlie ain't got no damn money. It's his father's money. And he's not a crypto trader. He buys crypto. And anybody who follows crypto knows that crypto ain't doing too good these days. It's up, it's down. It's definitely not a way of life. I mean, unless you really have that kind of money. That's all I'm going to say. I'm sorry, Cindy. I didn't realize you were really asking who Charlie was. I thought you were being funny and saying like, yeah, who's Charlie? Because we don't know him. I thought you were being funny. My bad. So this turned into a whole thing to the point where Charlie has an attitude. He keeps, you know, making nasty comments to Brooks. Brooks is uncomfortable. It makes everybody else uncomfortable to the point where he's rude to Ariana. Him and Ariana go back and forth to the point where finally Ariana is like, bro, like, why are you being such an asshole? And then Ariana's boyfriend steps in and he's like, listen, you've been acting like an ass since we got here. Like, you've been an asshole to us since we got here. And Charlie was like, well, you want to go fight? I mean, do you really want to go fight? And it's so funny. You can see the look on Ariana's boyfriend's face, like, go fight. Like, that's not what I do. like that's not what I do. And eventually they go off and Charlie and George and them end up going to another party, and the rest of them are just standing around like, what the hell just happened, right? They're like, what the fuck just happened here? Now, again, I'm going to say, like I said, I have mixed feelings about some of this because I feel like, and I said this before at the beginning of my review, I feel like Brooks, sir, you have everybody else addressing this issue. And again, you did tell Charlie it made you uncomfortable when Charlie kept doing it. Like, if it really bothers you this much, then you really need to put your foot down. Okay. I think Hudson will wear Charlie out. I really do. I think Hudson, especially at that point, because I think Charlie was drunk or high, and I don't think Hudson was. I think he was pissed off, and I think he was very sober. So I absolutely believe that Charlie would have got his ass whooped. Yeah. All right, let's get into episode 3. So episode 3, it starts off. We have Ava, we have Brooks, and Brooks again is saying last night. Once again, Charlie is talking about sleeping with him. And this time Charlie just came right out and said, you know, maybe I should go fuck your sister, or maybe I want to fuck your sister. Like, he literally just came right out and said it. So now Brooks is really like, what am I supposed to do? Like, he's just being disrespectful. Like, it's really bothering me. And Ava is like, look. Oh, and that's the other thing too. Ava and Charlie have this flirtation thing. I think they like each other, but they don't. But like, Ava said, Charlie doesn't have enough ambition for me. Like, I guess she's not okay with him being a crypto trader. I don't know. So Ava is like, that's not cool for him to be talking about sleeping with Chloe. That's not cool. And so she goes to talk to Charlie about it. And Charlie is just like, is he really mad? Like, he's really like, is he really mad about that? Like, he's mad? Like, that's how he really feels? And I'm like, right, Charlie, I agree. Charlie also seemed like the kind of person that's like, if you touch me, I'll sue. I agree as well. And I honestly think that's part of why he wanted to fight, because I honestly can see him letting Hudson punch him, and then all of a sudden, I could definitely see that. Charlie absolutely just does not take anything seriously. So he's sitting there listening to Ava, and he's like, what's the big deal? Like, so what? It's not that serious. I don't see what the big deal is. We see Ariana and Hudson. They're in New York still trying to find some place to live. And again, they're trying to recap why Charlie is such an asshole and talking about, the whole situation. Brooks had all the mouth on Assault Wives, but he needs all these mouthpieces to. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, this whole anxiety of it all, I'm like, whatever. And I know anxiety is a real thing, y'all. I'm just saying, like, yeah. Then we get to this. Okay, I'm gonna get through this part of the episode really quickly because it was cringy as fuck, and I don't understand what I was literally watching the episode going, what is happening here? So we see we see Brooks and his dad, Seth. We know Seth from the Real Housewives of Salt Lake City as well. They're out golfing, whatever, doing whatever it is that they're doing, whatever. And Brooks, again, he's talking about his boyfriend. He's got a boyfriend, met him at, the Sundance Festival, whatever. And yeah, happy for you, Brooks. He's cute. Yeah. He tells his dad, again, he tells his dad about what Charlie said about Chloe. And again, his dad was like, well, what did you say? Like, what did you say? And later on in the episode, Seth actually ends up calling Charlie. And I was confused by that whole situation because at first I was like, is he calling Charlie to check him on speaking on his daughter? But then it seemed like he fanned out over Charlie, like he was fangirling over Charlie. Like, it almost sounded like, it got to the point, it sounded like Seth wanted to hang out with Charlie and be his friend. It was weird, right? That whole scene was weird as fuck. I was like, I could see if Seth walked in there and was like, listen, I get it. When I was young, I was a jerk. I was, I slept with people's sisters too. And I know what that, I know that mentality, but I need you to understand that that's my child. I didn't appreciate hearing about you wanting to sleep with my daughter. I didn't appreciate it. I didn't like it. I just need you to know. But that whole thing was weird, even to the point where he started talking about how they were talking about, like, he asked Brooks about his sexuality. He was asking about how many, like, what's his body count? And then he was talking to Charlie about sexuality as well. And Charlie was like, oh, well, my roommate, he's bisexual. And he was like, well, actually, I think he's more pansexual. And Seth was like, what's pan? And I was like, oh, well, that means that, you're kind of open to anything. And he was like, yeah, that's what I'm trying to get to. Don't tell my wife, but I'm trying to be pan too. And I'm like, what? Yo, that was weird. Like, Seth, were you high? That scene was so weird to me, y'all. And it was so out of place. Like, this is a kid's show. You notice how the other parents are in and out. They film their scene and they go on about their business. Seth, you were trying to have a moment. Like, I saw more of Seth in this scene than I feel like I've seen in all of the housewives. Like, it was too much. I don't know. It really, and it made me uncomfortable. It was just, anyway. So then we see Gia is planning a pool party for the folks. And we see her and Teresa. Teresa is such a fucking idiot. Y'all, I can't with Teresa. Teresa is literally like, Gia was like, yeah, we're gonna swim in the pool and we're gonna make pizza party. I mean, we're gonna make pizza. And she was like, you're gonna make pizza? She was like, you have to put that in the oven. Gia was like, I know how to cook. Like, I know how to make pizza. She was like, but I mean, I don't know, Gia. Like, I don't know about that. And it's like, why are you talking to Gia like she is 10, having a bunch of girlfriends over after cheer practice? Like, Gia is a grown-ass college graduate that, well, she was going to law school. She's not going to law school now, but she is a whole college graduate. Like, I think she can have some people over to the house to go swimming in the pool. Like, girl. She was like, well, I have cameras. So I'm going to be watching you. I'm like, what? It was weird. Oh, I don't know, Casey. I don't know anything about Seth's situation. Y'all be knowing way more than I know. I don't know anything about it. Maybe, but I don't know. I honestly don't know. So then we see Charlie meeting up with his mom and his mom's boyfriend. Again, y'all know how I feel. I know that some of y'all might feel like I'm a little old-fashioned when it comes to certain things, but y'all know how I feel about these kids cussing in front of their parents and the parents talking. Like, why is your mama's boyfriend talking about the size of your mama's ex-boyfriend's penis? Like, literally, his mom and his mom's current boyfriend, his mom used to date his friend back in the day, and he was like, yeah, I couldn't believe that your mom left him to be with me because, I mean, he had a big old, I mean, it was like 9 inches. And Charlie was like, why do you know the size of his dick? And I felt the same way. But literally that whole conversation to me was so crazy and so cringy, from the cussing to the content of the conversation. But we found out that basically Seth's mom pretty much abandoned them so she could be out in them streets. I mean, that's what it sounded like. It sounded like once Seth's mom and his dad broke up, that basically she was out in them streets. Okay. I can hear the streets calling. Okay. And then Seth was raised by his dad, who made a lot of money and provided, but was just not a really, like I said before, emotionally available person. Even to the point where Seth was like, well, look, I don't want to be saying too much about him because I don't want him to cut me off when this show comes out. Charlie, not Seth. I'm sorry. I mean, Charlie. I keep seeing, I got Seth. My bad. Charlie. Thank you. Charlie. To the point where he was like, yeah, I don't want to say too much about my dad. Because when this airs, I don't want him to cut me off. Okay. But basically they were saying that, his dad just is not very much, it's just not there. We see Seth. I keep saying Seth, sorry. We see Brooks and Shy and Riley hanging out at Brooks's apartment. Brooks is trying to get back into doing his fashion. He talked about his first fashion line, which was basically just a tracksuit. And he said he definitely wants, he really wants to, do more. And, he doesn't want to be known as a one-hit wonder with the tracksuit situation of it all or whatever. They replay again. This scene, they kind of go through all of the Ariana and Hudson and everything we've kind of already, right, Sheba Shirai, kind of everything we've already been through. So we get to, we find out that they had gone out to this art event and Georgia was hosting it, but Charlie didn't want Georgia to invite Ariana. But Georgia was like, I liked Ariana and me and Riley are cool now. And so no, so she invited, she did invite them or whatever, but Charlie ended up leaving and left Georgia there, who Georgia doesn't have a phone right now because she lost her phone. And Charlie, I guess, was her ride home. And so Charlie left her and Riley at the art event and went out. He had met some girls there, whatever. Come to find out that the girls were rude. They were only focused on Charlie and his friends, didn't really introduce themselves to Riley and Georgia, and they were a little rude. And so all of this is going to come to play on, they're taking a party bus to Gia's house, because, of course, they all live in New York and they probably don't have cars. Or if they do have cars, they're probably like sports car 2-seaters that they drive to the Hamptons or whatever. So they took like this party bus so all of them could ride on the party bus to New Jersey out to Gia's house for this pool party. While they're on the party bus, now this right here is the reason why I did not want to review this show. Because when I saw who was on the show, and I saw that Riley was like really the only Black person on the show. I know A was Black, y'all, but Riley was the one I felt like was the only one on the show that, and I did not want this to turn into Riley being the token Black girl, Ava being the token Black girl, and everything being surrounded around their Blackness. Right? I didn't want it to be. And that's exactly what we got in this episode, right? So they're on the party bus, they're riding down, and they're talking about what happened at the event. And Charlie is saying how Riley was mean, and Riley was like, I know you didn't speak to me. And because they were saying that, you know, Riley was like, and they would that basically Riley was like, those girls were rude. Like, you left us at the party, you left us at the club, you didn't even say bye, you didn't even tell us y'all were leaving, and y'all left with those girls. And Charlie was like, well, y'all were really rude to those girls, and I think they handled it very well considering. And Riley was like, considering what? What you mean? Well, you were rude to them. I mean, you were like, I know you didn't. And he did the whole neck thing, and he did the whole finger thing. And Riley was like, whoa, don't do that. Don't do that. Like, don't make it seem like she's like, don't make it seem like I was rude. I did not, that is not. And they literally showed the clip, and that is not what Riley did. Riley walked up to the girls and introduced herself and said something along the lines of, I really like it when my friends ask me, when my friends ask me who I am. Like my friends, like basically my guy friends. I like when women acknowledge me, is basically what she was saying. But she wasn't rude. She didn't have an attitude. She damn sure didn't do all of this. And Riley says to him, don't do that. Like, don't do that. Don't make it seem like I was aggressive and I was coming at them some kind of way. And he was like, well, I mean, that's what it seemed like. Like, you know, Riley, you know how you are. And Riley was like, no, don't do that. And so Riley starts crying. He apologized, like, well, I'm sorry if that's not how you said it. So Riley apologizes, right? I mean, Riley starts crying. And so now they're like, because Georgia, Miss I don't wash my hands, actually had Riley's back. Riley was like, Georgia was like, no, those girls were rude. Like, no, Riley didn't do anything wrong. Those girls were rude to us. And then it seemed like then Charlie kind of apologized a little bit or whatever. But when Riley started crying and he was like, what's wrong? And he was like, why didn't you don't do that? Riley did. I feel like Riley did the best. I feel like Riley did. But Riley was like, don't do that. Like, don't make it seem like I'm this angry Black woman. What? Why? Because I'm taller than everybody. Because, and she said, because I'm taller than everybody. Like, what are you trying to say? She was like, but that is, that is because and she came right out and said it. She said, because as a Black woman, when you say those things, it hits different. Like, you can't just say, and she was like, and then all of this neck rolling and all that. She was like, I don't do that. Like, that is that stereotypical Black woman stuff. And don't do that to me. I feel like Riley did a good job of standing up for herself. I just think that Charlie is an asshole and he didn't want to acknowledge what she was saying for two reasons. One, I don't think he wanted to acknowledge what she was saying because he didn't want, Charlie's an asshole and he doesn't want to be wrong and he doesn't want to be wrong. That's number one. Number two, he didn't want to acknowledge it. And I think they cut this out, but I think he came right out and was like, you're not going to make me out to be like this racist person. Like he said that. And then but I think the conversation continued. And I think they cut that part of it out because Ava brought it up again, that Charlie was like, you know, you're calling me a racist and stuff. So I feel like they cut some of that conversation out about how far it went as far as racism and stereotypes and stuff like that. This is why I didn't want to review this show, y'all, because I was like, I don't want a whole season of Riley having to defend who she is. And I felt like that is what had to happen in this moment. And Eva, I feel like Eva did a good job of standing up for Riley. I think somebody earlier didn't feel like Eva stood up for her, but I feel like Eva did stand up for Riley. Eva said it on the bus. She stood up for Riley on the bus. And she said, as Black women, you have to be very careful the words that you use when you describe what we're doing. Like it hits different when you say it about a Black woman. Like you can't do that. And there are microaggressions. And Riley came right out and told him there are microaggressions in what you're doing. And here's my problem with, we had this conversation last week. We've had this conversation in the past. And I've told you guys, in my opinion, and everybody doesn't have to agree with me, but in my opinion, I think that conversations need to be had, right? Because I think that it's one-sided of us, of any minority group. I'm not going to say just Black people, but I think as women, as Black people, if people who are part of the LGBTQ community, people who are Latino, people who are Native American, like I think that it is very short-sighted of any minority group to assume that anybody understands their walk. I think it is short-sighted. And so I think that conversations need to be had, because I hate when I hear people say, nah, they know. Or when people say, well, they need to go read a book. They need to go do the research. They need to go learn. This is my opinion. And again, people can disagree with me and I'm fine with that. But I think that when you are dealing with people who are open to the conversation, I think the conversations need to be had. I think Brooks was open to the conversation because Brooks understood. I think Georgia is open to the conversation because Georgia understood, right? Charlie does not. Charlie is not somebody that I think is deserving of the conversation because Charlie is not open to the conversation. He doesn't want to hear it. He doesn't want to empathize. He only cares about what people perceive him to be in this moment. He's okay with being the spoiled little rich kid. He's okay with being an asshole. And he is not interested in learning about anybody else's perspective. Charlie is not somebody that I say we should have a conversation with. Absolutely not. Absolutely not. But I also say that Charlie is not somebody I would call a friend. I also don't feel like Charlie is somebody that I would call a friend. And I feel like he has shown himself to not be a friend. In 3 episodes, I can give you at least 3 examples of how Charlie has shown himself to not be a friend. He's not a friend of Brooks because he's not respectful of, 1, he's not respectful of Brooks's wishes as it relates to his sister. 2, he's not respectful of Brooks's feelings as it relates to him dating his sister. That's example number 1. Example number 2, I don't even need to go any further with the Riley of it all. And example number 3, the Ariana of it all. He has not shown himself to be a friendly person and someone that is open to the conversation. And let me say this, and I hear what you're saying, Kim, and again, we can disagree, baby, and that's fine. But the reason why I say that is because as I don't presume to know everything about every minority group. And if I'll just use the LGBTQ community, if I said something that was ignorant or short-sighted or stupid about the LGBTQ community, And their response to me is to not explain to me why what I said was ignorant, or why what I said was stupid, or why what I said was an uneducated thought process. If their attitude was to never teach me, how do we move forward? How do I grow? How do I learn? And to say it's not my job to teach you, you're right. It's not your job to teach me. But then how do I know? Because the reality is, sometimes, and I'm not speaking for everybody because Charlie is a perfect example of what I'm talking about. Sometimes people don't know what they don't know. Sometimes people don't know what they don't know. When I was growing up, I'm going to give y'all a perfect example. When I was growing up, we used the word tranny. I didn't know it was disrespectful. I did not know that that was no longer a term that was acceptable to use to describe a transgendered person. I didn't know that because growing up, that was the word we used. It wasn't until somebody explained to me, hey, we don't do that anymore. Hey, time out. We don't use that word no more. My bad. I didn't know I was being disrespectful. I didn't know that that was something we no longer did. So if somebody that was a part of the community did not give me that information, if their attitude was, ain't my job to teach you, you need to just go figure it out. I don't know I don't know to go look it up because I didn't know it was no longer an acceptable term. I didn't know. "90% of the things that people say that are ignorant regardless of race, gender, etc." But would you agree that you don't need to keep explaining? Like a person who is receptive doesn't need the lesson over and over again. Right. That's what, and I agree. And that's what I'm saying. I don't think that everybody is worthy of the conversation. I don't. I said that. I don't think everybody is worthy of the conversation. And like I said, the fact that they kept trying to explain to Charlie, Charlie has shown himself to not be receptive to any of this shit. And let's be clear, Charlie is not a friend to any of them. He's not a friend to Riley. He's not a friend to Dylan. He's not a friend to Georgia. He's not a friend to Shy. He's not a friend to none of them. Brooks, he's not a friend to any of them. I agree. But can I say that I was loving that? First of all, I love the fact that Riley called her mama. Can I tell you, I love the fact that Riley called her mama. I love the fact that Riley called her mama, okay? And when I tell you, I love how Candy responded. I love how Candy responded, okay? I love that Candy was like, listen, girl, I love the fact that because basically if you cut through what Candy said, baby, you hang with them white people. And even though I love the fact that you are open to mixing and mingling with other groups of people that are from different backgrounds and different races, understand that this is what comes with it. When you choose to hang out with white people, you're going to have to deal with white people's shit. That's what Candy said. Now, I'm putting those words in Candy's mouth, okay? But that's what I heard Candy say. I heard Candy say, listen, baby girl, you went to New York and you have expanded yourself. And you have opened up your friend circle and you have a mixed bag of friends. And I love that for you. Okay. I love that for you. But what you have to understand is when you choose to hang around a mixed bag of people, you open yourself up to being around a mixed bag of people. And what you're going to have to do is be strong in who you are as a Black woman and understand that this is the plight of the Black woman. Understand that. Understand that unfortunately, this is going to always be your cross to bear. It just is. As a Black woman, this is what it is, baby girl. She said, but you stand up for yourself And you stand in your convictions and you be true to who you are. Baby, I loved Candy in this moment. Candy was the MVP for me. Yes, Kimmy Shelter. Candy was the MVP for me. I loved that. I loved that she called her mother, but I also love what Candy said. And I loved how Brooks was there for her. Baby Brooks had Riley's back. Brooks and Riley are friends for real. Because Brooks went over and sat next to Riley on that bus. And had her back on that bus when Riley got emotional and was crying. And when Riley was on the phone with her mama, baby Brooks was right there. Baby, I love that for Brooks. But then Charlie going to go over and apologize to Gia. I mean, Lord, not Gia. Apologize to Riley. But then he going to turn around and say he ain't really mean the apology. Now, I'm going to be honest and tell you that I think he was saying he don't mean it when he apologized in general. I think that he's saying that he don't never mean it when he apologized. I don't think he was talking about just in that moment with Riley. I think he ain't mean it when he apologized to Brooks. I think he didn't mean it when he doesn't mean it when he apologized to Ariana. Because again, he doesn't mean it because he meant what he said and he said what he meant. The fact that he keeps bringing up Brooks' sister, he means that shit. And let me tell you something else. Brooks' sister got her ass on that bus and she couldn't wait to have a conversation with Charlie's ass. So again, Brooks and the rest of y'all, stop it. Chloe is perfectly fine with Charlie. Chloe want a piece of that. Chloe wants a piece of that. So let Chloe walk down that road and find out the hard way. Y'all can't stop her. Ain't nothing that y'all can say. Your mama can't say it. Your brother can't say it. Gia can't say it. Baby, she wants a piece of that. Because please understand, if she were as upset about what Charlie said as the rest of y'all seem to be, she wouldn't have said nothing to Charlie. Yet and still, she mad that he ain't called her for a second date. Did y'all peep it? Did y'all peep it? She's mad that he didn't call her for a second date. Y'all better let that go because she ain't mad. She's not mad. I tell y'all all the time, I can't be more mad about something than you are. I can't be more mad about it than you are. And I'm going to say the same thing to Riley. Now, Riley, baby, I'm going to have your back because, you know, I'm rooting for everybody black, okay? I got you on this show. But what I am going to say is Charlie has shown himself to be who he is. He didn't sat there and apologize to you and then turn around and say he didn't mean it. So meet him where he is, baby. I know you got to finish this show and all of that good stuff. I get it. But, baby, meet him where he is and move the fuck on. You finish filming this season, and when the season is over, you see him for who he is and move on. Now, I don't even know how much I was going to say how much better. I don't even know how much worse it gets because we are only in episode 3. But this man in every episode has shown himself to not be y'all's friend. Believe him. When a person shows you who they are, believe them. Believe him. Believe him. Not Chloe and Heat. Now, I did not mean for this to take no hour and 15 minutes, honey. I got to go get ready to watch Miami, okay? We got to get ready to watch Miami, and I'll be back at 10:15-ish to get into this Miami episode. But can I say one last thing before we get ready to get off of here? You know, white people can't just stop being white people. It was bad enough that Ariana took them big-ass dogs on that party bus down to New Jersey. Why was them dogs in that pool? Why were them dogs in that pool? Anyway, let me get ready to get out of here, y'all. I'll be back in about an hour-ish. Lord have mercy. We'll be back for the Real Housewives of Miami. I'll see y'all in about an hour-ish. No, about an hour and a half. 10:15, child. 10:15. All right. Talk to y'all later. Peace. You did, Bap. You did.